Alright, what is up, guys? So, in the last episode, we worked on half of the authentication portion. Um, we implemented the login and checking if a user or the email is in the database or if the passwords match and all that good stuff. So, if you want to look at that video, um, I'll post a link up to it. So, in this one, we're going to finish it off with the last thing being our middleware. Okay, so after we get done doing the middleware, we should be heading over to the front end. Okay, so that's the plan. All right, so let's get started here. We're going to first create a middleware file in our root folder. So let's make sure you're in your root. So let me start by doing that. .js. So what this middleware is going to do is going to check every incoming request to see if it has an authorization header. And if it does, we're going to grab the token and verify the token. And if the token is verified, we're going to set that user. So that's the plan with this middleware function here. So let's get started by naming it auth middleware. All right. We're going to have our request, our response, and then next. Alright, and what the next does is that it moves on to the next middleware if you have any. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is check and see if, we need to access the authorization header. Okay, so we'll do const header, okay, equals, we can grab the authorization from the header by doing request dot get, and you want to get the authorization. I'm going to get the authorization header. And if you're not sure how this works, I recommend going to, because this is how I found it out, Node.js, Express, request object, I think it was. I got it from Tutorials Point. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with that website. Yeah, the Node.js Express framework on Tutorials Point. It was under the let me see. Express. Let me look at my history. Hold on, real quick. I wanna make sure I give you guys this website because it can be very helpful for beginners that are not familiar with the whole middleware and things. Because I know I wasn't until I researched it. So history, because it's in here. A second. I was just searching it the other day. I was searching it a couple days ago. Let's see. I was also looking for Middlewares and GraphQL and all that stuff. Yeah, I think here it is. No, I lied. That wasn't it. But anyway, once I find it, oh, here it is. I think I found it. No, that's the one I searched today. I lied. Okay, but anyway, once I find that website, I will post it in the description. But it really helped me understand. Wait, is that it? Yeah, here it is. Huh, see, I found it. All right, here it is. This is the website that helped me understand middlewares and whatnot, and the request objects and whatnot. So if you guys want to check this out, feel free to do so. I'm gonna still post this link in the description. Um, where was it? It was the methods. Yeah, the get method. So the get method. Well, that's the response. I was looking for the request. Request response. No, it must be in the next one. So let me see. I lost it. But yeah, it's similar to what I just showed you. When there's the response.get, it's similar to request.get, and you can grab um any header properties that you want to get. Okay, so that's the main general point. Sorry for all that researching and whatnot, but I just wanted you to understand that. So we can get the authorization from the header by doing request.get and then name the authorization header that you want to, well, name the header type that you're trying to get, which is authorization. Okay, now if we don't have this, if whatever request that they're going for, um and they don't have a authorization header in their request, then what we're going to do is we're going to set the request auth user, which is a field that I created on the request body or the request object. This is the name I made up. You can call it anything you want. We're going to set it to false because there is no authorization, which means that most likely there is no token. So, and then I'm going to go to next because we're going to move on to the next step because, we can move on from that point. But if there is in header, if there is authorization header, we want to grab the token out of that header. And how we can do this is go header, we'll say this is grabbing the token, so we gotta go const token, and then we'll do the header dot split. Okay, this is splitting it up because by a space there, because originally it looks like that, and then barrier, and then blah 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 token. Okay, so we split that up, so we only have barrier now. Since we split it up, now it looks like this. Okay, now this, when you do the split, it splits it up into an array. Okay, so this is an array that has barrier and the token. Okay, so what we want to grab right now is the token. So zero is an array is zero base, so it goes 0 and then 1. So we want to grab the 1 to represent the token. Okay, so that's how we do that. We go 1. See, now we have that token from that array. Okay, so we're grabbing this token here. Now, whatever the token is, of course. Now, if we do this, if we do the authorization, the splitting and whatnot, and there is no token, Like we did all that splitting and then it's nothing, an empty nothing. Then we want to again do the auth user as false because there is no token in it. Even though we have the authorization header, there's still no token. That's possible. So we want to say if there's no token, or if we do have the field, we'll say or, and there's no token inside of it. So the token is equal to an empty string. So if we do have it and there's just no data in it, then what we want to do is again set this to false. Okay. And then we'll do next again. So move on to the next thing, next middleware or your functionality basically. Move on to the app and next. Go past it. Okay, so we handle that scenario. But if we do have the token and everything's good, we're going to verify that token. Okay. So if we make a request to I'm using this example so you guys can see how this works. If on the front end, if we make a request to create a note, right? So we make a request to create a note. It's going to run through this middleware. And it's going to check to see if that request has an authorization. If it doesn't, throws an error. Well, it doesn't throw an error, but the auth user set to false. But if it does, then we get the token, and then we verify the token. And then if the token checks out, then we're able to create that note. Okay. I believe that's how it works. Yeah. Okay. So we'll do const decoded is equal to the decoded version of the token. So we have to basically verify it at this point. But I'm storing that verified information inside this decoded. Or should I? Yeah, I should. Okay. So then we got to bring in the JSON web token. Bring it in there. So we say jwt dot verify. Okay, we're going to verify that token that comes in from the request. So the token, which is the one we just grabbed from doing all that splitting and grabbing it and whatnot. And then we got to use our secret, so we're authorized to do this. What do we called it? Let me see. Okay, powerful secret. That's what we called it. Okay, so it has to be the same one. All right. So once you grab that, let me see. Do an else statement down here. We'll run that, and then we could. At this point, we got it, so everything's good. We can set this to true now. And then we can set a user ID is going to be to that token that came in that we verified. So request dot user ID, which is basically the same user ID we specified in our schema in our auth data. That's the one that we specified. Okay, so this is going to have the value of decoded dot user ID. Now the decoded is the verified token, and if you look here, the decoded user ID comes from, where is it? Is it the notes? No, is it the users? Yes, users. It comes from the data that we specified here. Okay, remember we signed a token, and we had the user ID be set to the user that we found. So everything checks out, then that user ID that we found is going to be the user ID of the request. Okay, I know that's kind of like really weird. It's really weird to actually explain and be able to understand in one video. You're gonna have to like really search on how that whole process works. So once that checks out, that's all good. Okay, and then now what we got to do, last thing we got to do is export this. So we're gonna do module dot exports. We're gonna export the auth middleware here, and then we're gonna come to the server, server.js, and we're gonna use this in our app level. Okay, there's an app level and there's a route level. A route level is kind of used for like the route level is used for like a REST API when you have your different routes, and then you would put the middleware in a specific route that you want. That's how you would do it route level. But we're actually kind of doing it both. We're actually doing it in the app level, and then we're going to put it in the resolvers that we want to protect. So we're kind of doing both if you really think about it. So let's bring that in so we can use it on the app level. Acquire, and then we're going to do it's on the same level. There we go, middleware. Alright. And then before it gets to our routes, we're gonna use this middleware. So auth middleware. Okay, don't invoke it, just put it like that and it'll understand it. Okay. So once that is good, then what we gotta do is we gotta put it on the resolvers that we want to put it on. So we're gonna go here to the resolvers, under the notes. Now how our app is set up, you're going to need to since it checks it on every request, we only want to check it on the resolvers that we need authorization in. So we need authorization to create a note. Okay, so what we got to do here, it's since we made this middleware that says request auth user, that's like to the whole app level. Okay, so we can use that here. The way we use that here is that when we pass in our parameters for our resolver, they also take in a request parameter as well. Okay, so we need authorization to create a note. So what we're going to do is we'll say so say like we make a request to create a note, like I said earlier. If they go through this request and finds a header and all that stuff, then we're good. But if it goes through this request, doesn't find a header, where did I call it? Where's auth user? Okay. Auth user. So if it goes through this and doesn't find a header, doesn't find the authorization header from this request, what we're going to do is we're going to go request dot auth user is equal to, or do we throw an error? Yeah, we do throw an error. So what we say is throw we'll say not authorized. So you're not authorized to access that. You're not authorized to create a node if you don't have the token and the authorization permissions, okay? But if this does go through and you do have the permissions, then it's going to do all of this, okay? So we have to put this, you have to basically create this like if check for each route that you want to protect, basically. So we want to do that for the create node. Also, we want to have authorization on the delete node, because you can't just delete notes all willy-nilly if you're not authorized, okay? So again, gonna pass in the request parameter there. Alright, but if we are good, we can delete a note. But I am gonna have the functionality to see the notes and view a note, because it's gonna be a dummy note. Like when you first get into our app, it's gonna have a dummy note, and you can view that dummy note. You can't delete that dummy note because it's just showing you what the app would look like, right? But if you was to try to create a note, then that's when you have to sign in and do all that stuff, okay? We'll do all the redirecting, I think, on the front end, I believe. Yeah. Alright. So those are only two routes that we want protection on. And the other ones, they can, get it for free. They can, like, get a tease almost to see what it's going to look like. But if they was to try to, like, really interact with it, we'd be like, nope, you got to sign in. Okay? So that's the middleware. The last thing we got to do when we create a note, remember this hard-coded value we had here? It's not going to be that no more. Because when a person creates a note, if a person is authorized and they got their token back and they got their ID and they got their email, then the user that created this note is gonna have is the user ID, right? So we'll do request, and we already set that up on the middleware. Okay, it says if everything validates, then your new user ID is gonna be the data you passed in for the token, being the user ID. Okay, so if you're authorized, if you're actually authorized and you make it down here, the user creator is going to be that user ID that you're authorized with, that you passed in as your data in your token. Okay, so we're going to put that there, and we're going to put that there. So you're going to find the user by whatever authorized ID that they use. Okay, so request dot user, what did I call it? User ID? There we go. Okay, so now that that's all set up, everything should be working. Let's test it out. Let's test creating a note, and let's test deleting it. Well, let's test creating a note. That should throw an error because we're not authorized, but let's see. So if we go here to mutation, and we do create note title low content by okay image some image like that. Okay, if we create this note, it should give us an error, like I said, because we're not authorized. So it should say not authorized, because we haven't even created a user that's associated with this note yet. So let's see. The ID, not authorized. So great. Okay. So that route is protected because you're not authorized. But we didn't put no protected routes on the notes, right? So let's try to query for the notes and see how that works. see if we still get our notes back, which we should, because we didn't put no protected routes on there. Should work. Let's see. Title, content, unexpected token. Let's see here. Get us. It should be get user. Why is it? It's probably why it. Well, that's probably not it, but I saw that in there. I don't know why it was like that, but split of undefined. Oh, okay. So something we did in our middleware that was wrong. Um, let's see. I know that's probably not it, but oh wow. Oh, it was because of that because I didn't return. Oh, that's boo boo. Okay. Well, all right. Make sure you always put your return at the end of before you do the next. Make sure you put return next so you won't get that error again. But yeah, you see it's working though. Okay, so we're able to get the notes back because we didn't specify a middleware to protect that route. So we're able to get that back. So everything's working. Everything's seeming good. Um, Now let's test one more thing. Let's test and see if am I able to see that, or do I have to do the front end to see that? If I was to create like another user, no, we should be good. We should be good. I'm gonna end it right there. So I'm gonna end it at that point. We made our middlewares. We did all our if checks in our databases to make sure everything was correct, making sure our password matched and all that stuff and all that good stuff, right? So, in the next episode, we should be getting, finally, if I'm not mistaken, we should be getting into the front end and working with Apollo, I believe. Yeah. All right. So that's it for this episode. I hope you guys enjoy. If you do, feel free to hit that like button. All right. So, yeah. So that's the plan for the next episode, is to get into the front end. All right. So I will see you guys in the next one. Oh yeah, and I'm gonna push this code up to GitHub after I figure out how I'm gonna put these secrets in the environment variable. But all that, it should be good. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a good one.